Could the Chicago Bears enter a potential Micah Parsons trade sweepstakes? We're going to explore the latest here on Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. Appreciate everybody for making us a part of your day. Before we dive into this, I'll tell you this. If the Bears make a big trade, we're going live here on the channel. So hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications. That way you never miss a video here on Chicago Bears Now. And that way you never miss when we go live, which is every Monday and Thursday at 4 o'clock Central, plus every major breaking news. We're going live, interacting with all of you. Okay, Micah Parsons. Could he end up with the Chicago Bears? Ian Rappaport on Super Bowl Sunday reporting that Dallas has had, quote, internal discussions, close quote, about trading their superstar pass rusher. Obviously, this got a lot of people's attention. And from Dallas' standpoint, I think there could be some logic to this because they've paid Dak and CD huge money, and they're several pieces away from contending. So if they can get multiple big-time draft picks and maybe a player, I think Jerry and Stephen Jones would consider it. From the Bears' standpoint, obviously Chicago needs another pass rusher. I know offensive line. I'm well aware. The offensive line is the priority, but we can't just ignore that the Bears' defensive line is, when fully healthy, an average unit. Like, when Billings went down last year, it became a below-average unit. Like, I like Montez Sweat a lot. He is not a number one on a good front four. He's a number two. I like Gervon Dexter. He's elevated to being a quality starter. But for now, that's all he is. Billings, good run stopper. He's not elite. DeMarcus Walker, ideally, is a heavy rotation guy. Austin Booker is an intriguing young talent that didn't do much as a rookie. Like, if you brought in a guy like Micah Parsons, probably the best young pass rusher in the NFL, 25 and younger, I think he's 25 years old, that changes a lot for a position group. Like, this guy averages 13 sacks a year, basically. He had 12 sacks last year, and he missed 4 games. I know Micah is a polarizing player. He's got a podcast. He plays for the Cowboys. He's one of the best pure pass rushers in the league. Speed, power, different moves. He could play off-ball linebacker a few snaps for you if you need him to. And to be honest, the fit with Montez Sweat, I think, works really well because it's similar to what he's had in Dallas, opposite of DeMarcus Lawrence, who historically has been one of the best edge-setting defensive ends, who's also a good pass rusher. Ideally, that's what Montez Sweat is. Run edge stopper first, who's a secondary pass rusher and a pretty damn good one. Whereas since he's been in Chicago, he's had to be your top pass rusher, and that's really not what he was in Washington. He was a stop-the-run, dominant edge rusher first, secondary pass rusher. That's what he was. And if you bring in Micah Parsons, he's one of the best pass rushers in the league. You just tell him, hey, go pin your ears back. The rest of us will stop the run. Like, you don't even need to really worry about stopping the run. Like, we will take care of that. And Sweat can go back to being that dominant edge setter because in Chicago, that's slipped a little bit. And I think part of that is because he's been tasked with being one of your primary pass rushers. So I like the fit. I think Dennis Allen would like it as well, obviously. And Mike is only 25. Like, he is a young ascending player who you'd have to pay. It would cost a lot, both via trade and a contract. But I think it's something you can't ignore if you're Ryan Poles. Like, these are the type of players you should always be sniffing around on, especially if you think you're closer than other people think to being a playoff contender. Should the Bears trade for Micah Parsons? You guys weigh in down in the comment section below. Type T for trade or P for pass. Give us your votes down in the comment section. Well, one Bears player seems to be recruiting him. That is his former college teammate, Jaquan Brisker, who we all know certainly isn't shy on social media, saying we'll welcome 11 with open arms. Reunion. They played together for 1 year at Penn State. They overlapped. Remember, Micah sat out in 2020 for the COVID year and was prepping for the draft and went pro. So they actually only did play together for 1 season, but obviously they know each other. There's familiarity there. The question, of course, just like when we talked to Myles Garrett, is, like, what's a trade going to cost? Is it 2 firsts? Is it 2 firsts and a player? Is it 2 firsts and a second? Is it a 1 and 2 twos and a player? Like, it's hard to say. And, with the buzz that Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, and Micah Parsons are all going to draw trade buzz, that'll be very interesting to decipher this offseason. We'll kind of explore what some trades could look like for Micah Parsons here in just a moment, but I do want to tell you guys about today's sponsor. That is ZBiotics. Use promo code ChatSports at zbiotics.com/chatsports to get 15% off. That QR code will get you set up as well. And I may not drink as much as I used to since I'm older now, but listen, on the weekends, date night, whatever, I like to have a drink or two every now and then. Unfortunately, I just don't bounce back like I used to the following day. But that is all changed now that I have found ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol. Pre-Alcohol is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Whenever you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to drink this probiotic before drinking alcohol. Drink responsibly and get a good night's sleep tomorrow to feel your best. We all have busy lives these days, so don't waste any more days after a night of drinking. ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol is the answer we've all been looking for. So go to zbiotics.com/chatsports or scan the QR code on screen right now to get 15% off your first order when you use code ChatSports at checkout. You can also sign up for a subscription using our code ChatSports. That's all one word, so you can stay prepared no matter the time or occasion. ZBiotics is backed with 100% money-back guaranteed, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they will refund your money. No questions asked. Okay, Micah Parsons. What is a trade package going to look like? Just like we did with Myles Garrett, we'll explore some trade packages when it comes to Micah Parsons here in just a moment. I think when you add it all up, you're probably looking at 2 first-round picks. Now, obviously, things can differ based on team, right? Like the Bears are picking 10th. So if they trade 2 first, that's more valuable than Buffalo, right? Like I think the Bills or the Ravens or one of these teams trying to get over the hump in the AFC to catch Kansas City, they would be sniffing around for Micah Parsons as well. So trade idea number 1, just cooking things up. Pretty simple. Your next 2 first-round picks. Number 10 pick this year, first-round pick next year. I get it. Tough pill to swallow, but you've got a high level all-pro caliber pass rusher for at least 5 years. Now, you're going to have to pay him $33, $35 million per year. It costs a lot of money, but, you know, when you have a rookie quarterback you believe in, and I think the Bears do, this is when you try to add blue-chip players that cost a lot of money. So that would be number 1. Number 2, first-round pick this year, second-round pick this year, and Austin Booker. Does Austin Booker close the gap enough to only give up a second instead of a first? You could make the argument because your second-round pick is still, you have 2 of them, 39 and 41, so you could get one of those picks. Those are just within 10 picks of the first round. Maybe Dallas is intrigued with Booker. Maybe they would add him and put them square into their rotation. So that could be a possibility. You could also add a guy, or you could switch him out for like a DeMarcus Walker if they want more of a proven veteran presence there as well. So I think similar to the first one, 2 1s or a 1 plus an early second and a player, that could be something you consider here as well. And then trade idea number 3 here is both your seconds this year, 39 and 41, and a first next year. Now, how would the Cowboys view this? Would they want a higher pick this year? Do they view next year's first round as a better value? A lot of people would say yes. It feels like the sweet spot in this year's draft is day 2, so you give them 2 day 2 picks this year. But if you're the Bears, you keep that number 10 pick. You could trade down if you want an extra pick, try to recoup a day 2 pick for this draft. You could take the best offensive lineman available. You could approach that in a number of different ways. And again, we talked about this with Myles Garrett. Talk about it here. If we do it with Max Crosby, we do the same deal. The O-line does need to take priority, but we can't act like the defensive line isn't a major need. Obviously, the O-line has major issues. Darnell Wright, I feel good about. Braxton Jones, I can get by if he's healthy for 1 more year. Those other 3 spots, I mean, at most, like maybe you would bring back Coleman Shelton to be your center. He wouldn't cost a ton of money, and he's at least serviceable. Teven Jenkins can't stay healthy. Matt Pryor is a good backup. They want to bring him back as a backup. I'm all in for that. If you want to do a Teven Jenkins Pryor kind of combo as one of those spots and then fill in Trey Smith or someone else at the other one, I could live with that because I think if Matt Pryor on a 4 or 5 game sample for a season, if Teven Jenkins gave you 12 games, I think that could work. But you need multiple new starters on your offensive line. But you need defensive line help as well. You don't have that top guy. Montez Sweat's a very good player. To me, he's a Robin to a Batman on a defensive front. Trevon Dexter's a nice starter. We don't know what his ceiling is yet. Is he going to become Chris Jones? That seems like a reach. Andrew Billings, good player. Not a long-term high level player guy, though. Like Micah Parsons is entering his prime and is a superstar already. Say what you want about the guy. That is the bottom line fact of the situation. So I'll ask you, would you do a trade that adds up to about 2 first-round picks for Micah Parsons? Type Y for yes, type in for no. If you told me you could still add multiple starters to your offensive line, I would have to heavily consider it, especially considering this draft, while there's good value on day 2, isn't exactly loaded with superstar prospects. At least that's the outlook of it. So you guys let me know. Y for yes, N for no. Would you do that for Micah Parsons? All right, that's going to do it for this edition of Chicago Bears Now. We will continue to explore the latest Bears news, rumors, trade buzz, and everything else in between this offseason. So be sure to subscribe to the channel for more content.